Because when people mention the word 2020, automatically, what's the first thing people think of? Oh my God, the pandemic that
Mhm.
happened,
Mhm.
and it's tough topic. 9/11. Everyone no one knows what that word and what that day meant,
Mhm.
and it's the same thing when you mention that word 2020.
Mhm.
It impacted the whole world, literally.
I don't even know whether Nostradamus was correct on this bad boy. That life is changing like this. It has changed. It's changed personalities. It's changed industries. It's changed everything.
Mhm.
It's really it's unbelievable how much things have changed. Yeah.
Mhm. COVID changed me, like as far as planning, like spring break, I'm so hesitant now to plan trips and to like lock things in. I have no idea if it was just because we couldn't do it for so long or like, well, why would I want to book that? Like, what if I want to cancel? I I always want like an out now. So, I mean, we would drive, so it wouldn't, but I like to have my ducks in a row and I feel like my ducks are running all over the city. Like they're not even in the same pond as me. I don't even know how it happened. I think it makes me like, where is pre-COVID Jill? Maybe in my mind, I'm like, well, if I don't have anything planned, nothing can get taken away. I don't know. It's very weird.
I
What?
think it was being forced to be home, being forced to stop, not stop the rat race, but yes, stop the rat race. Once you're forced to stop and consider things, if I've noticed being a stay-at-home mom now, I have so much more time to think versus when I'm going to work. And it can be good and bad because like if you do have a problem going on, work was my escape. Surgery, I loved it. Scrubbing in, you turn your mind off and you do it. I love surgery for one of those reasons. And no matter what you're going through, the world stops. All of a sudden, everybody started dealing with that.
Yeah.
So I do think it bred change. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, doors were open that weren't open before. You were working from home. And then if you decided you did want to move to another state, if that was what was right for you, then you were willing to because you were willing to make your life fit to what you wanted. And I think that people did a little bit more realize like they had more control of their own lives.
Hmm.
You could keep a job, work from home, move, then find a job where you were going.
Yeah. Or sometimes keep the same job and do it remotely.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah. We sold our house
Right.
and it ended up being a great change for us. A very healthy change. I don't know what we would have done if we'd stayed in Georgia.
Hmm.
Um, so we had positive changes, but it was an effect of it, not necessarily directly.
That's been.
Revolutionizing. I mean, I feel like I've been growing emotionally, mentally, physically. Uh, it's been a bunch of transitional shifts, but I think more importantly, I'm just impressed with my progress, like in terms of setting boundaries, working on myself, working on growing into who I want to be versus who other people want me to be.
I have very different priorities now and a very different style of working than I may have. I think it would have taken me a long time to figure out some of the things that are important to me that I've figured out now. Everyone's got so much going on still, but
Mhm.
my prioritization now of like Kelsey time is really different. And I don't think I even realized how much I love it and or need it or just want it. Like I want to be able to live where I want to live and I want to be able to like change my schedule throughout the day the way that I want to. Like I'll work late at night if it means I got to ski all morning. I'll work from like 4 to 10. Like it's fine. We'll be fine, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think I would have ever felt comfortable doing that. I think I was more of a like trained in the way of jobs, the way that my 20s like taught me jobs were too.
Mhm.
like working in politics and then in sports and like takes over your life. Everything you do has to be a job and all the time.
Yeah.
And I never, I mean, it took all of society stepping back and looking at that for me to feel like I could do that, maybe.
I guess. Like, you would have thought as an adult that I already would have been pretty sure of who I was and what I wanted to do. But like 2020 flipped that completely because I had time to focus on things that maybe I didn't like, or things that I wanted more of, or things that I thought I liked. And nope, that didn't actually matter to me because I didn't miss it at all. So I think it's been just a lot of self-learning and self-awareness and, listening to my body, listening to my feelings, my mind. Because when we were all just shut in and that's all we had, like I would have perhaps gone crazy if not. So I think it's just been more of a journey of really self-awareness and really realizing too where other people are coming from, because everybody handled that so differently and we're in such different mental places. And I think it was just a good wake-up call to be a little more empathetic all the time, try and approach everything with kindness, try to be the light, don't be someone's, don't rain on people's parades. But that's all like with self-awareness, like what do I want?
It did like change like how I interact, like what I think is important, like how like socially, like who my friends were, like it made me reevaluate like do I need to go out as much, and what is important to me, like, and like what things I need to work on, like health or like finances or like even like who my friends are, like, or like do I really need to like attend all those things and waste my time, like where is my time best like spent, or like what makes me happier. It made me just like realize that there's like another, like you can be comfortable like doing different things, not just like the same thing that I was doing for years, which is just like going out and like socializing.
I would say it's definitely impacted me in the fact that like nothing's fun really anymore. Can't go out on Groupon, you can't find anything fun and engaging. Nobody does like fun events. It's always just like, it seems like it's just raves, concerts, and DIY craft nights at home. That's really on there. Or like online sip and paints, which
On
to
Groupon
me,
specifically?
yeah, or
Okay,
like on
that's
group, you know what I
yeah.
mean? On Groupon specifically, but then like in general, there's been a lot of small businesses that really would have thrived. Like we
Okay.
used to have this place called Pork on a Fork. And it's a
Mhm.
barbecue spot. It was outstanding, amazing food. Closed down literally within like 3 months of us moving here. It's like they're taking away all of the good things and monopolizing all of the worst things. Like you have more McDonald's now than ever on every street corner. They're still
Mhm.
around, but I don't really know that many people that go to McDonald's that often.
It's darker than it was 4 years ago. I mean, I was thinking about the first few weeks of COVID and how scary it was when we saw those news stories out of New York City, and there were people dying in their homes. There were ambulances lined up at the door and people were dropping dead, and it felt like the end of the world. I don't want to say that wasn't a dark time, because it was. We were all really scared. At least I was scared.
Yeah.
But I do think the world is darker. I do think people are more pessimistic or more less trusting of each other. Yeah, it's darker.
I guess it was an eye opener with how many bad players there are out there, how many selfish people there are out there. I didn't know that. I guess I was naive. It has really caused me to keep my eyes open to follow this genre of the health stuff. Like I wouldn't really have been paying that much attention to. I'm more of like a nerdy space science guy. Like I love anything about, galaxies and just space exploration.
I think I notice like the hate and like just like maliciousness so much more now. I find it harder to ignore and harder to, and I don't know, like, I don't know if that's because, you know, we were able to be in bubbles for so much that then when we re-entered the world, it was like, what in the, like, what are these people doing? Or why would I want to, because you could be away from people, you could avoid a lot of people. So now we're forced to interact again with people who don't necessarily make us feel good. And so I think I notice it more, like, because we could avoid those people for a really long time with just, well, you're not in my bubble. I think it bothers me more when I see people being unkind, and I notice it more. Like, what in the, like, why would you go out of your way to wreck somebody's day? Like, because they made a mistake and turned in front of you, like while they were driving. Do you really need to honk your horn for 5 minutes? I feel like I notice it more, and it eats at me a little bit more than it used to.
People are shitty. They are rude. They don't care. They don't want to work. They're lazy. All the things. And I don't think that it's really been anything like there's not been any positives really. Not many.
And was there like a big shift in 2020, or would you say like we were headed on that path?
I don't know really if we were headed on that path or not. I mean, that was so long ago. But I've said that like since it happened, I've been saying that for a couple years now, like, damn, ever since COVID, people are just shitty. And obviously I'm getting that from somewhere. Like I know I keep saying it, but I can't give you a direct reference because I really don't know. But I know I originally said that, and it was obviously, you know, my mind went there
Right.
and
No,
felt the difference.
The world is getting more. I would say the world's changed, but it's only changed in terms of like, in terms of how people are acting. People, I would just say, we're just getting more and more delinquent, at least morally delinquent in my eyes. You know, as a Christian, I can't really say that I'm better than anybody, but I would say that it just feels like there's like an evil thing just brewing, like waiting to continue to build up, and it's just all compounding at this moment. And I feel like we're all gonna either go one way or the other. Like there's no, the same way politics is polarizing, I feel like morally this is how people are projecting as well. You know, I think you had with the whole Roe v. Wade thing, you have, you know, core responsibilities, core moral values. I think people are kind of running towards or running away from, and eventually it's just going to be like this, either you're with them or you're against them kind of thing on both sides.
Well, I do think that COVID, because it was an existential threat, at least for me, it caused a lot of deep thinking about what's important and what's valued, and how is our society structured for taking care of each other, and a lot of deep thinking. It did provoke a lot of that.
Yeah. Okay.
One thing I hope it doesn't do to me, and it might be too late, but I hope it hasn't caused me to be that paranoid person. You know, oh my God, the bird flu now is in the mammals. Now it's going to hit us. I have to keep that in check.
I probably should think about getting on a career track at this point. But also everything is uncertain. So like it could change. It can always change. Could change again.
We're back to kind of normal. And what I mean by kind of normal is it's not necessarily normal, because you still have that feeling in your head that it happened. It's kind of like PTSD, really. It's still there, you know? It's kind of scary to think about it that way. Like COVID was like a PTSD for a lot of us.
Knock on wood. I if I could take back the whole thing happening so people didn't die, of course. But I don't regret, I should say, I don't regret going through this experience, because it has been so impactful. So many memories caught on my camera, in my head, like that. It's wow. Like I watched some pandemic movie, end of the world movie, And I was like, Hebalda, do you want to watch this pandemic movie? He's like, no, we're in one right now.